Well, first of all, thank you so very much for being here another Sunday morning. You can still hear me, right? Someone give me a wave. Thank you. So thank you very much for being here. It's always a joy to practice together these Sunday mornings. Although today it was kind of difficult to get in the room because of technical issues, but you know. Also, my apologies for disturbing your Zazen with words. Take them lightly, please. A few days ago, I had a short catch up with a friend, and he made a comment where he said, my practice is almost non-existent at this point. I might sit every now and then. And so immediately I thought, well, how can I say something to encourage my friend? And that, of course, led me to start thinking about it. So I'm going to try to express my thoughts here very briefly. I might not be able to connect all of them in such a short period of time, so apologies for that. But I thought, well, as human beings, we stop doing things when we don't see them as beneficial. We stop doing things when we don't see them useful, where we don't gain something from them. We stop doing things when we don't consider them necessary. And that applies to our practice as well. We've all had up and down moments. We've all seen people that have had up and down moments. Sometimes we're very excited, sometimes it's very, very difficult. And so my words to my friend were, because he said he feels like he needs to get back into a routine. And I said, maybe it wouldn't harm to remind yourself of the fruits of practice. And this is the delicate kind of topic, right? Before you raise your eyebrows thinking, oh, no gain mind, goalless practice, good for nothing. Hear me out. In a conversation between his nephew and Shariputra, his nephew asks him, friend Shariputra, what is the purpose of the holy life under the ascetic Gautama? What is the point of practice, basically, with the Buddha or under the teaching of the Buddha? And Shariputra says very simply, to end all suffering is the purpose. You see, if we look back at the things that Shakyamuni Buddha talked about more often and the things that he insisted on, it always comes back to lay people, monks. Do you remember the Four Noble Truths? Then the Four Noble Truths the Buddha taught in order to help us end suffering, live a life that's free of suffering. Now, free of suffering has nuances, which we all know. It has to do with seeing reality, seeing things as they are, with radical equanimity. It has to do with all of those things that we talk about so very often. But here's the thing. The Four Noble Truths that the Buddha taught, they were not simple theoretical or expressions of knowledge. No. They came with responsibility. They were in themselves practices. Practices that yielded good results. There's the truth of suffering. The Buddha says this is to be understood. That's very complicated. Understand it with the body, understand it with the mind. There's the truth of the cause of suffering. The Buddha says this is to be abandoned. That's a lot of work. Get rid of attachments, of clinging, of judgments. That's a practice in itself. There's the truth of the cessation of suffering. The Buddha says this is to be realized. Truly embody enlightenment, truly live free of suffering. Difficult practice. And lastly, there's the truth of the path to the cessation of suffering, which is the Eightfold Path. The Buddha says this is to be developed. Again, right action, right speech, right mindfulness, none of it is all of a sudden happening. It needs to be worked on, polished. And then we can think about how we practice with our precepts. Everything ties into everything else, and it all yields good results. And the other day, Jundo Roshi brought up the Fukanzazengi from Master Dogen, especially the 1233 version, which is not that popular, but one specific paragraph from it really, really called out to me, precisely because of this topic. And it goes like this. Zazen, which I'm talking about, says Master Dogen, is the dharma-gate of great peace and joy, or nirvana. If you attain its significance, the four great elements of your body will become naturally light and peaceful. Your mind will be fresh and sharp. Your mindfulness will become clear. The taste of dharma will support your mind and make it tranquil, pure and joyful. Then your everyday activities will become in accord with the true nature. He continues, at all times, you should protect and maintain the power of samadhi, this deep concentration in Zazen. You should study thoroughly and transcend the upper barrier. Do not rely upon anything. Do not be attached even to enlightenment. Just be yourself. Therefore, you should never stagnate anywhere. This is the completion of the way. And this paragraph really stood out to me because it is a list of wonderful things that happen because we practice. Master Dogen says, when we attain the significance of Zazen, the four great elements of our body will naturally become light and peaceful. That's the earth element, the water element, the fire element, the air element. As in the solid things in our body, the liquid things in our body, the air in our body, the energy. So what he says is, when we sit Zazen, we learn to be in balance with the body and mind. Or rather, we experience this balance through the sitting itself. Because these solid things, this body of ours, is an object of clinging for us, right? It's the object of deluded perception. And even the Buddha taught that when we look at these elements of our body, the realization at the end should be that this is not me, not mine, and not myself. We learn that in Zazen. Master Dogen says the mind will be fresh and sharp. Mindfulness will become clear. These are all things that, happen because we sit. The mind can be dull. The mind can be stale at points in our day-to-day life. We are like mechanically acting without really thinking. Our mindfulness sometimes is murky. We don't quite keep an awareness of the reality of the moment, the situation, our body, ourselves. And then he says, your everyday activities will become in accord with the true nature. I take this to mean enlightenment manifested in everyday activities. Zazen, or rather Zen practice, as a natural expression of life. These are good fruits of the practice. Here's the difficulty. All of these fruits of the practice appear through sincere practice. Sincere practice is goalless. Sincere practice is that practice that does not chase these fruits. We taste them on the cushion. We have fragments of them sometimes. Sometimes we feel all of this joy and peace and tranquility. And I think as a result of that tasting, as a result of the experience through sincere sitting and sincere practice in general, we develop the faith in the practice necessary. To practice for the sake of practice, not for the sake of the fruits. And when that happens, these fruits appear naturally. In that moment, as Master Dogen says, we are just ourselves. So it is okay sometimes to remind ourselves that sincere practice does have effects on us. That there is good results coming from engaging in this practice wholeheartedly. The problem is clinging, attachment to the idea that something will come out of it. And so the only option left is sincerely practice. It's the only way that the fruits appear and we can enjoy them. And I'll leave that for reflection. Let us sit.